On our podcast, Tapcaf Transmissions, Eckhart's Ladder and I often joke about how Luke has terrible luck with his initial students. In today's video, we're going to take a quick look at his track record leading up to the formation of his Jedi Praxium, primarily focusing on the potential students he lost either through death or the dark side between the Battle of Endor and the inaugural class of the Jedi Praxium. First, we have a student he tried to take almost immediately after Endor, Dev Sibwara. Dev had been captured and brainwashed by a species of Saurian invaders known as the Siruvi, who drained their captives of life energy to power their technology in a process called entechment. Sibwara was able to use his latent force abilities to help calm prisoners and make the process easier, making him extremely valuable to his captors, and they hoped to replicate that with Luke. Luke was saved, though, through Dev's intervention, and Luke hoped to take the young Dev on as a trainee. Unfortunately, Dev was killed when the cruiser they were aboard was attacked by another ship at the Battle of Bakura. Death wasn't the only thing to take Luke's prospective students from him. Considering he was working from scratch, many of Luke's options for students were individuals who were already much older and had some level of training in the Force already, or had other career paths that were preventing them from becoming Jedi. Among the former group were, probably most notably, Mara Jade and Kyle Katarn. Luke had seemed to want to bring in Mara as a student for years. However, she was primarily concerned with building her and Talon Karrde's smuggling organizations, and her former position as the Emperor's Hand led to a strained early relationship with Luke, as well as a connection to the dark side. Kyle Katarn was wary of receiving more training from Luke after his own brush with the dark side while fighting the Dark Jedi Jarek. The last of the people in this category, Corran Horn, was initially reluctant to join the Academy because his focus was on remaining as a starfighter pilot in the famous Rogue Squadron. The next major group of potential Jedi or Jedi trainees for Luke came with the Dark Empire comics and the return of Palpatine. Over the course of this 14-issue arc, Luke comes into contact with at least 6 new potential Jedi, including 3 former Order members. 2 of the oldest, Vima Dabota and Ood Bnar, were never serious options for the Praxium. Vima helped Luke and Leia against Palpatine but then disappeared. Ood Bnar's only interaction with Luke was sacrificing himself to kill the Dark Jedi Cedrus. The third Jedi, though, Amitageus Brand, was seemingly fully on board with helping Luke restart the Jedi Order until he sacrificed himself to trap and destroy the Force essence of Emperor Palpatine. This leaves the 3 new trainees he found. The first, Cam Salusar, similar to Kyle Katarn, was the son of a former Jedi and had received some training. This seems to be his first success story, with Cam being enthusiastic about becoming a Jedi from the start, and then not dying, which is an incredibly rare combination. The last 2 were young members of the tribe on the planet Ossus, Jem and Rafe Yasana. Jem was in her early 20s, and Rafe was a teenager, so they were relatively young compared to a lot of Luke's other students up to this point, except for Dev. Luke began a romantic relationship with Jem, but both she and her brother were killed in battle against Palpatine's Dark Acolytes during Dark Empire. Following Empire's end, Luke began trying to set up his Praxium in earnest. There are usually about 16 people considered the earliest students of Luke there, with 2 being unknown, including the aforementioned Cam, Mara, Kyle, and Corran, though Kyle left soon after, and Mara's focus was split between being a Jedi and being a smuggler. Corran also had a somewhat rocky relationship with Luke, detailed in the book I, Jedi. Of the other 12, several more would die or fall to the dark side. Most famous of these is probably Kip Durin. Kip's brush with the dark side came because of a mix of pent-up anger towards the Empire and possession by the spirit of Exar Kun, resulting in Kip's use of the Sun Crusher to destroy the Karita system. While Luke did return to the light and would go on to be a member of Luke's new Jedi Council, it's still kinda Luke's fault for putting his Jedi Academy on Yavin and in around temples laden with dark side energy. These temples in particular would claim another one of his students, and others would fall to the dark side as Gantoris, his first student for the Jedi Praxium, was being tempted by Exar Kun as well, though he realized it before he fell to the dark side and was killed by Exar Kun's spirit. A third student, Brachus, fell to the dark side for other reasons. He defected to the Empire and started the Shadow Academy, where he attempted to train a Dark Jedi army to fight Luke's new students. The last of these initial students to fall or die in their initial training was Dorsk 81, a Force-sensitive Commite clone, who was killed in an assault on the Jedi Praxium by Admiral Datasi Dala, who had escaped with her fleet from the Maw installation. As I said, Luke was starting from scratch in a galaxy with a lot of baggage about Jedi, and a lot of Palpatine's legacy working against him. So it's hard to blame him for all these students that either died or fell to the dark side, though there are a few cases where I think he has some responsibility. Either way, I hope you've enjoyed this look at Luke's earliest pupils. There are a few other options pre-Endor as well, and a couple other mentions, but this covers the bulk of it. If you have any suggestions for future video topics, please leave them in the comments and consider leaving a like or subscribing. Thanks for watching, and hope to see you next time.